Hello, seeker of greatness. Have you ever noticed how the loudest voices rarely belong to the true champions? The world teaches us to shout, to prove, to display power in noise. But the real victories are forged in silence. Silence is not emptiness, it is construction. It is the invisible workshop where giants are built, far away from applause, distractions, and the desperate need for validation. Think about it. Every legend you admire, athletes, thinkers, creators, didn't craft their strength under the spotlight. They were born in the shadows of discipline, in the quiet hours when no one was watching, when others slept, and the only sound was their own breath and determination. The silence of early mornings, the silence after failure, the silence of sacrifice. This is where champions are sculpted. But here's the hidden truth most people ignore. Silence is uncomfortable. Silence confronts you with yourself. And most people run from that. They need the noise, the chatter, the endless scroll, because silence forces them to face their doubts, their weaknesses, their fears. Yet that very discomfort is the doorway, because in silence the mind sharpens, the will strengthens, and you discover the voice inside you that the world can never silence. Imagine a fighter alone in the gym long after the crowd has left. Imagine a student staring at the pages of a book in the dead of night while the city sleeps. Imagine the dreamer walking alone, planning, building, preparing. There is no cheering, no clapping, no recognition, only silence. And in that silence, a seed is planted. Over time, watered with persistence, it grows into mastery, into unshakable confidence, into a presence so strong that when the silence finally breaks, the world listens. You are not like the rest. While they fear being alone with their own thoughts, you have the courage to stay, to endure, to transform silence into your strongest ally. And that, my friend, is where the difference is made, between those who wish and those who conquer. Most people think success is about constant action, about always moving, always talking, always showing. But the champions, the real ones, understand something deeper. Silence is not an activity. Silence is strategy. It's the pause before the strike, the stillness before the storm. It's in those quiet hours that you align your mind, sharpen your intentions, and prepare yourself to act with precision when the moment arrives. Picture a predator in the wild. The lion does not roar while hunting. It moves in silence, watching, waiting, calculating. The roar comes only after the victory. Humans are not so different. The loud ones often reveal their weakness. They announce dreams they'll never pursue. They speak of plans they'll never execute. But you, if you embrace silence, you learn to protect your energy, to keep your fire hidden until it's unstoppable. And let me be honest with you, silence is power, but it also requires bravery. Because when you commit to silence, you commit to being misunderstood. People will think you're distant, strange, maybe even weak. They won't see the hours you spend sharpening your craft, strengthening your body, fortifying your mind. But that is the beauty of it. They won't understand until it's too late. Until the day you step forward and the work you've done in silence roars louder than any voice ever could. That is why the silence builds champions. Because while the world is distracted by noise, you are building an inner fortress, one brick at a time, one day at a time. And when the world finally sees you, they won't just see a person. They'll see the unshakable weight of discipline, patience, and mastery. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It's the presence of focus. When you strip away the noise of opinions, the endless comparisons, and the pressure to perform for others, you create space for something far more powerful. Clarity. Clarity of who you are, where you're going, and why you refuse to quit. That kind of clarity cannot be bought, cannot be handed to you. It must be forged in the silence of your own struggle. Think of the greatest minds in history. They didn't find their breakthroughs surrounded by noise and distraction. They found them in solitude, in long walks where only their thoughts accompanied them, in quiet rooms where the world's chaos could not intrude. It's in that same stillness where your breakthroughs wait for you. But silence also teaches endurance. Because in silence, there are no instant rewards. No likes, no claps, no cheers. Only the invisible grind. And that's exactly why it builds champions. Because champions are defined not by how they act when everyone's watching, but by how they endure when no one cares, when there is no audience, no recognition, only the battle against themselves. You've probably noticed how most people can't last in silence for more than a few minutes. They reach for distractions. They fill the void with chatter, with noise, with anything that makes them feel busy. But you are not like them. You know that silence is not emptiness. It is fullness. Fullness of discipline, of patience, of inner strength. While they run from it, you stay in it. And that decision separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Because silence, my friend, is not a prison. It is the training ground of the mind. It is where self-mastery is born and where your future self is quietly being built. And here's where the real transformation happens. Silence strips away illusions. Without the noise of the world telling you what you should be, you begin to hear who you truly are. It's uncomfortable at first, because the silence will show you your flaws, your doubts, the parts of yourself you've tried to hide. But that's the gift. Only when you face those truths can you reshape them, mold them, and turn weakness into strength. This is why so many never rise above mediocrity. They can't stand the weight of their own silence. They drown it with endless distractions, always searching for external validation, because it's easier than confronting themselves. But you, if you are brave enough to sit with silence, you will uncover something they never will. The raw, unpolished version of yourself that has limitless potential. Think of an athlete training alone in a dark room, no cameras, no audience, just sweat and breath. In that silence, every repetition is a promise to the future. Think of the strategist who studies quietly while others waste time on noise. When the moment of action comes, he moves with such certainty that everyone else seems blind. This is the hidden advantage silence gives. It sharpens your edge until it cuts through the world without effort. So when others laugh at your quiet nature, when they mistake your silence for weakness, remember this: they are revealing their own fear, because deep down, they know what silence creates. They know that the one who walks silently is often the one who will strike hardest. Silence is like a mirror that never lies. In the noise, you can hide behind excuses, behind the opinions of others, behind the false comfort of constant distraction. But when the world quiets down, there is nowhere to run. It's just you, your thoughts, your fears, your ambitions. And in that raw confrontation, growth begins. Because what you face, you can change. What you deny, you can never overcome. Most people live their lives running from this mirror. They bury themselves in conversations that mean nothing, in routines that keep them busy but never fulfilled. They speak loudly about their dreams, but when the silence comes, they cannot stand the emptiness of their own unfulfilled promises. That's why champions are rare, because champions are forged in those long, lonely hours when nothing and no one is there to validate them. They validate themselves in silence, through effort, through repetition, through unshakable discipline. Think about a seed planted deep in the soil. For weeks, sometimes months, there is nothing to show. No one applauds the seed. No one believes in it. It is buried, hidden, silent. And yet, under the surface, something extraordinary is happening. Roots are taking hold, strength is being built, and one day when the time is right, it breaks through the earth, not as a fragile seed anymore, but as a force of nature. That's exactly how silence builds you. It makes you strong underground, invisible to the world, until the moment comes when you rise unstoppable. And here's the paradox. The more you embrace silence, the louder your results will speak. People will wonder where you came from, how you suddenly became so strong, so focused, so unshakable. They won't realize you've been preparing in silence all along. They won't see the countless hours of sacrifice, the nights of solitude, the battles fought when no one was watching, but they will feel the weight of it when you finally step forward. That's the secret most never discover. Silence is not weakness. It's your ultimate weapon. And if you learn to master it, nothing and no one can take away the power it gives you. And when you finally understand the weight of silence, you stop craving recognition. You don't need the world to clap for every small step you take, because you know the applause will come later. Louder, heavier, undeniable. You move differently. You think differently. You act with purpose, not for attention, but for transformation. The irony is that those who mock your quiet dedication will one day envy the results it produces. They will remember how you seemed distant, how you disappeared into your own world, how you chose solitude over distraction. And then they will see what that solitude built. Discipline carved into your very character, confidence that cannot be shaken, a strength that feels almost untouchable. Imagine walking into a room where others try to prove themselves with noise, with empty words, with exaggerated gestures. You won't need to compete. Your silence will carry more weight than their shouting ever could. Because silence radiates presence. It tells people, this person doesn't need to prove anything. The proof is already alive within them. But don't misunderstand. Silence is not about hiding. It's about preparation. It's about saving your energy for the right moment, sharpening your skills in the dark so that when the light finally shines on you, you're not caught off guard. You don't just appear ready, you are ready. And that readiness cannot be faked because it was earned in silence. This is why the greatest victories are born without witnesses. Because when the day comes for the world to see what you've become, they won't just see success. They'll see inevitability. They'll realize you didn't stumble into greatness. You built it quietly, brick by brick, in places they never dared to go. Silence, when mastered, becomes a kind of invisible armor. It shields you from the chaos of the world and gives you control over yourself. Think about how rare that is. Most people are controlled by noise, by the constant pull of opinions, by the fear of missing out, by the endless distractions screaming for their attention. But when you cultivate silence, you are no longer pulled in 1,000 directions. You move with intention. Every step has weight. Every decision has clarity. This is why people sense something different in those who embrace silence. They might not be able to explain it, but they feel it. A calm strength, a confidence that doesn't need validation. It's the reason why a silent individual often commands more respect than someone who never stops talking. Words can be doubted. Silence cannot. Silence is proof that you are grounded, that you don't need external noise to justify your existence. And here's the beautiful part. Silence gives you leverage. While others reveal their weaknesses by talking too much, you learn by observing. While they waste energy trying to prove themselves, you conserve yours and build. While they chase approval, you chase mastery. By the time they realize what you've been doing, the gap between you and them is already too wide to close. Picture a warrior sharpening his blade long before the battle begins. He does not boast about the sharpness of his weapon. He doesn't need to. When the time comes, the blade will speak for him. That's exactly how silence works in your life. The preparation you do quietly, the resilience you build in the unseen hours, will one day speak louder than any declaration you could make. And let's be clear, this path is not for everyone. Most will never understand it. But you, by choosing silence, you are aligning yourself with the rare few who don't just dream of greatness, but build it in the shadows. You are proving that the strongest presence often comes from those who need the least noise. And when your moment arrives, the world won't just notice you, they will remember you. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is creation. It is the forge where champions are molded, the ground where roots grow deep before the tree rises tall. While the world wastes itself in noise, you are building in quiet, shaping yourself into something unshakable. And when you finally step into the light, you won't need to shout. Your presence, your results, your very being will roar louder than any words ever could. Remember this, the loudest are often the weakest, but the silent ones. They are the storm that no one sees coming. And you are that storm. You are the one who dares to walk the path that others avoid. You are the one who will rise from silence and force the world to listen. Now the choice is yours. Will you keep chasing noise, or will you embrace silence and let it build you into the champion you're meant to be? If this message has spoken to you, if you feel the fire of silence burning within, then join this journey. Subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and let's continue building a community of unstoppable minds. Because here in this space, silence doesn't weaken us, it crowns us, and together we rise.